So Wi-Fi, obviously don't use anything that is public or you don't need a password for, unless, funny enough, and I always, if you all see me talk about this before, I have this thing against abusing VPNs. I'll say abusing VPNs because VPNs should be used for travel. They should be used for connecting, working from home, connecting to the office, as if you're on the same network from home. That's how they work. And maybe, change your IP address or whatever the features a lot of them provide. If you're using a VPN at home, I don't know why you would do that. Unless you want to change your IP address and make it look like you're coming from somewhere else or whatever. But then if you do that, you might as well just use a proxy server. I'm sure if you Google for free proxy servers, there's plenty of them you can use. You don't need to download this whole program and pay a subscription to do all this stuff. It doesn't do anything. It's that VPNs do not keep you from getting hacked. People don't hack you via IP addresses anymore. They hack you by going to a malicious website, all this stuff. Maybe 20 years ago that was true, but nobody's doing IP address attacks for clients. For servers, obviously a DNS name resolves into an IP address, which, services are listening, websites may be vulnerable, or web servers may be vulnerable to attacks, all this stuff. But public versus home versus mobile hotspot. I mean, again, using a VPN at home doesn't make sense to me. I would just use a proxy server if I wanted to hide my IP address or use a website that would mask it, which basically acts as a proxy server. And public, VPN sounds fine. If you're going to Starbucks at a coffee shop using a VPN, sounds fine to me. I would be very careful with connecting to ones that have no key and have no protection, unsecured Wi-Fi, stuff like that. If you're using a VPN, it does help a lot in that way, even if you connect to them. But I guess the way I look at it is, if I go to a place where it's not crowded, there's nobody using it, I'm in the middle of nowhere, blah, 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 I'm a little bit more lax with security than if I'm going to, Starbucks in downtown San Francisco where there's 1,500 people on it, or at the airport and stuff like that. I do not trust airport Wi-Fi. Traveling internationally, you kind of have to use it sometimes if you want to do anything, because you don't have, LTE. But I would say what I do is I try my best to use LTE. I try my best to use cellular, and I just don't connect to Wi-Fi unless I absolutely have to, unless there's just no signal, or it's just horrible, or I need to work or download something. And then when you do that, these days, so again, 10 or 15 years ago, this was much more of a problem, because before the NSA, Snowden revelations and stuff, a lot of websites weren't HTTPS. They weren't. They were just HTTP, which means not encrypted. So if you're going to an HTTP website, that means people could see what website you're going to, what you're looking at. They could man in the middle, attack you, stuff like that. As long as you don't click through that red box that says, "We can't verify this website. This is risky. Please don't do this." Yeah. As long as you don't click through that, you can be saved from a lot of that horror. And there's other browser features that are modern that kick in to help you too these days. So that was much more of a problem a long time ago. There's still attacks that can work. But just imagine that whatever Wi-Fi you connect to, here's a way to think about it. Whatever Wi-Fi you connect to, it's as if, would you let the people that you're in that coffee shop or in the airport or whatever, or the airport itself, would you let those people on your network and talk to your devices? If you believe that, there's only like 2 people using this, there's nobody around that's going to be attacking you, whatever. If there's like 2 people in the coffee shop versus 200 people, you can kind of adjust it based on that too. But most of all of these attacks, they require an out-of-date browser. I always say the most boring advice I can give anyone to prevent the most number of hacks you'll ever come across is keep your browser up to date and don't click through security warnings. If you do those 2 things, you are in the 1% of people not getting hacked. And if you have a Mac or Linux, if you have anything but Windows and you do those 2 things, you're in the 0.1% of people that have pretty good security. Keep your browser up to date. Don't click through security warnings. Those are the 2 biggest ways that people get hacked. So you just invert it. If you don't do those 2 things, you'll be much less likely to get hacked. Simplest way I can explain it.